Hi, Dr. Stephanie Higashi here. A lot of patients ask me about fertility and things about it. And after practicing for over 24 years, I've seen quite a few things. When I was doing my undergraduate school at the University of Colorado in Boulder, I took a course in human reproduction. And the professor said that he went to Congress and he said to the congressman, "You're half the man your grandfather used to be." And they're like, "What?" And what he was trying to prove and show, and they've known since the early 90s, was that a lot of the plastics that are in our environment actually have been affecting sperm counts, estrogen levels, and fertility. And it's kind of interesting. I got to meet my great-great-grandmother, Felicita. She lived to be around 95, 97 years old. And when I met her, my grandmother told me my great-great-grandmother had 15 children. She had 15. My great-grandmother had 7. My grandmother had 4. And my mom and dad, they had just me, 1. We can see that there's been like a trend, and whether that's socioeconomics, whether it's decisions, whether it's birth control, or a fertility issue. And so I can tell you that when patients come and say, "I really want to get pregnant, I'm not getting pregnant, why do you think that is?" I want you to consider a couple things that you might not know about. One is plastics can definitely affect hormone regulations. So when people microwave in plastics, drink out of plastics, are surrounded by plastics, store their food in plastics, really consider those choices. Secondarily, would be hormones. A lot of times people will use estrogen or progesterone birth control, which can then affect their hormones in the future. I've seen a lot of young girls where they've been put on birth control for acne, or they're like, "Oh, I just don't have a period." And then it's like, "Oh, do you want to ever get pregnant? Do you know that there's side effects from this? That there's possible cancer that could be caused, and that's why you have to get yearly checkups." I think that these are important things that aren't always disclosed. Another thing I've seen is 20 years ago, women were only given IUDs if they had already had all the children they'd ever want or they were over 30. I'm seeing girls as young as 20 years old that are given IUDs, and I'm like, what's going on? And the concept is if the IUD is scraping the inside of the uterus, it could cause abnormal cells, and then it could also make it difficult for implantation of an egg and sperm for pregnancy. These are things to consider. If it is something you do want to have, then you might want to consider that that may not be a choice you want to pick for birth control that could have side effects you may not want in the future. If all of those things are in check and you still need some additional help, we at Health at Last have done a lot with acupuncture. There's fertility points for acupuncture, massage, chiropractic adjustments, making sure everything's aligned, and then of course diet and nutrition. Staying away from alcohol, drinking enough water, having particular supplements, taking even prenatal supplements to get the body ready. There's a lot of great things you can do. So wanted to share that with you. And then also, if you have children, consider some of the effects that you may create unknowingly, and be aware. Asthma inhalers that can cause a lot of hormone dysregulation. Have them come and get their spine checked. See if we can get their function of their spine working for them to not need inhalers, particularly if their asthma symptoms go away. Check and see the decisions that are being made so that you have the future you want to create. We really want you to enjoy your life and be healthy.